Yo, what is up? It is your boy. It's the Birdman, and this is the Birdman Show. You've been around long enough to know what we do, so why don't you go ahead and do it with us? Woo! Woo! That is right. We are here on the Birdman Show. This is another beautiful day, and it's another start to another season of the Birdman Show. We are in season 4. This is episode 1, and I am very happy to be here. I'm happy to be here with my co-host, Ace. How are you doing?
I'm wore out.
That's who you are.
This trip that I decided to take is the windshield time's taking a toll on me. But I mean, other than that, I'm enjoying getting to see family and meeting some amazing people along the way. So I'm actually on location in Bowling Green, Kentucky tonight.
Oh wow.
Yep.
Okay. So I was reading comments as well. I'll get to that in a second. Um, Shane, welcome
Yes, sir.
to your actual first episode of the Birdman Show. It's technically your second, but this is going to be your actual first episode. Because the first episode you're supposed to be on, we were supposed to do you be the judge, but we had a little bit of a schedule change, and a script change, so we ended up doing something else, which was a lot of fun. I actually did enjoy it very much. Thank you, Carrie, aka Fury Storm, for that light and entertainment as far as that episode goes. But this is going to be your actual first episode, so everybody wanted to definitely want you to welcome Shane to the podcast and his very first episode of the Birdman Show.
Appreciate y'all. How's everybody doing?
Good, good. Shane, how are you doing today, bud?
Oh, I'm doing good. Doing good. Can't complain.
I mean, you could complain, but no one really cares.
That's why.
Facts.
I mean, it is what it is. I mean, I'm not trying to be a jerk about it, but I mean, honestly, that's how it goes. Oh God, there goes already.
Now, just so you know, Birdman, we're going to be together tomorrow.
Oh Jesus, heaven help that whole freaking area. Good
Right?
uh, Jesus. Okay. I mean, that new movie Twisters came out not that long ago, so I guess you guys are just gonna carry it over. Anyways,
Yeah, we're gonna pull it into Tennessee.
yeah, I'm gonna
Just
pull it
like
on
park
in.
it right over Murfreesboro.
Hey, I'm not even mad about that. I go ahead, do what you do. Don't bring it this way though. Yeah. But yes, we are here on the Birdman Show. Now, this episode, we're doing it's kind of a cool topic. But we're supposed to be having I think this was 2 guests. But I think it's gonna be down to 1. So D and Jeff were supposed to be joining. Oh, there's D. How you doing?
Hi, honey. I am here. I work nights, so I'm a little on the rough side right now. So I have the camera off.
Hey, look, you don't have to apologize for nothing. Trust me, we don't all been there. So you have nothing to apologize for. I appreciate you being here for this episode. Now is Jeff joining us too?
He will be. I think he's joining via TikTok.
We're not on TikTok tonight. He's in the chat.
Yeah. So like he's in the chat. And he'll probably be joining me on camera after.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, definitely. Well, I'm definitely glad you both can be on here, especially you, D, because this is a topic that you had just suggested for us. And for those who don't know, we're going to be doing combat companions. Now, first of all, before we get to that, D, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, and tell us why you chose this topic for us to do on this episode.
All right. Well, let's see. So telling you a little bit about myself basically will tell you why I chose this particular topic. Jeff and I have been married for 15 years. Jeff is a 20-year combat veteran. With that, we support a lot of the groups like Till Valhalla Project, the 22 a Day Project, Wounded Warriors Project. It's something that's extremely important to us because we know that our combat veterans who sign their names to Uncle Sam don't always come back the way that they should. And anything that we can do to bring awareness to that and to maybe help to save is very important to us.
Well, from
Okay.
myself as a vet, from Shane, who's a vet as well, and for all those vets that are out there, Jeff, thank you definitely for your service as well, my man.
Yes. Yes. Thank you.
I really appreciate you bringing this topic to light. And yeah, I'm gonna do my very best, my very 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 best to make it through this
Stay on
episode.
topic.
Well, it's not just to stay on. Yeah, I'm gonna try to stay on topic as much as possible, but I mean, just to kind of make it through this episode, because even just listening to D talk about this, just really opens up a lot of. And I know she didn't mean it intentionally, but it does open up a lot of wounds. Not only with the military service, but just dealing with just life in general, which we're gonna get into a lot of when we talk about these combat companions. Um, However, before we do that, I definitely want to make sure I take the time to tell you that the Birdman Show is powered by Restream. Restream is an easy way to do a podcast, and probably the only way we're going to be doing a podcast, at least for a long time, here on the Birdman Show. Restream has amazing editing tools and an unmatched community of experts that will help you take your podcast to the next level. So, if you want to learn more about the Birdman Show, please definitely go check out Restream and let them know that the Birdman sent you. All right. Yes,
At
Ace.
least until he finds another platform.
Yes, until I find another platform. Right now, Restream gives us everything we need. So I'm not even tripping on it.
And real quick, before we jump into this topic, for anybody out there that deals with PTSD, anybody out there that has combat trauma, I do want to let you know that there is always the possibility of triggers. So if something along those lines you believe is going to trigger you, this is your warning now. We're not telling you that you have to leave. We're telling you that you do what's best for you. We aren't going to be upset if you're not able to stay. For those that are watching this later, we're not going to be able to stay upset if you don't finish this episode. We get it, because every single person in these boxes right now deals with trauma in one way or another. So we completely understand if you're not able to stay the course with us. There's been episodes where we have barely stayed the course. So we completely get where you're coming from, and take care of yourself first.
100,000 trillion billion gazillion billions zillions percent. I agree with Ace. And this is I'm gonna tell you right now. This is one of the things I like about this subject we're gonna be talking about, is because when you hear about combat companions, everybody always immediately associates it to vets, and that's not the case. um Trauma, PTSD deals with a much broader spectrum than it does just with military personnel. There's all kind of Ace himself never served in the military, but had a traumatic experience that led to him having PTSD and dealing with stuff. D, I don't know your backstory. I don't know if you've had anything like that. If you're willing to share, we would definitely be grateful for that. But I can't speak for anybody else. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna speak for Shane, even though he and I both served in the army. Um, and our experiences may have been different. But the thing is those feelings, those emotions that we all deal with, Doesn't matter if you're a vet. Doesn't matter if you're a civilian. You know what I'm saying? Doesn't matter if it happened 30 years ago, 50 years ago. It doesn't matter if it happened yesterday. It's the same thing. And that's the one thing, I love about this topic. I'm be honest with you, D. I was a little bit, like, I don't know if I want to dive into this. But I appreciate it. Because this is one of those things that, because like I said, not everybody's, I don't know if he said it. Maybe he did say it. Maybe I thought he said it. Maybe I wanted him to say it. Not everybody's scars are visible when it comes to PTSD, when it comes to trauma.
And they're not.
You know, and not everybody's scars visible. So, and I told this to somebody else the other day was, sometimes, and I had a chance to go to Walter Reed, and I'm glad you mentioned that, D. I had a chance to go there, even after right before I got out of the military, and you know, I when I saw those vets, they were missing limbs, they had the deformities and everything like that. I This is gonna sound so messed up. I envied them because people could see what war did to them. For me, I have all my fingers, I have all my toes, I have both my arms, I have both my legs. I don't have any outward visible scars, and people assume because I came back intact that I was intact, and that's not the case. And it's it's difficult. I'm just gonna put it that way. I know the fight that my fellow vets that they endure, especially for those who had those aforementioned things that I was talking about. And it's a fight for them, because in their mind they're trying to remember how they were before. In my mind, I look like I did before, but I'm still trying to remember how I was before. And it's a psychological, mental warfare every single day. And people, somebody's looking at me like, you would say you envy those people that have those. Yeah, I do. I do. Because at least if someone looks at them and then they say, oh, they were in the war, they're like, oh, hey, thank you for your service. Which everybody says that when they find out I was in the military, which, it is what it is. But it's like one of those things where like there's like, why are you doing, oh, wait, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know you were in like, I digress. Anyways, so um now I'm gonna say a fun, interesting fact. Fun, interesting fact. So I decided, I was like, you know what, I like this topic. I'm gonna do a little. I'm gonna break out what we normally do. Ace. I'm gonna do some research on this topic, and I
Oh,
typed in
mm,
combat companion.
mm,
Yeah, I know, right? I typed in
mm.
combat companion. You know what the freak came up? World of Warcraft. Yeah, yeah,
Seriously?
yeah. Seriously, it was talking about how the little combat companions you get for World of Warcraft and how you can level them up. There was nothing about what we're actually talking about on there. You
I
actually had
did
to
the same
type
thing.
in service animals. I had to be specific and type in service animals. Combat companions. If you go in there, it'll bring up PC gaming stuff.
Now, Birdman, Birdman, you are you're categorizing combat companions because combat companions aren't just service animals.
I know. That's the reason why I typed it in like that, because I wanted to see what was actually going to come up. See,
Okay.
that's the point. It was that I wanted to see what was actually going to come up when it came to this. And so for me to get to the part where even it was about animals, um, it I had to be very specific about it. I had to type in what I was actually looking for. No, combat companions is not about animals. It's not. I mean, not just about animals. It's people too. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
It's whatever. Honestly, it's whatever for somebody who's been through any type of trauma. It's whatever that can bring them that peace that can center them, bring them back to reality, and keep them grounded. So it can almost be to me in my mind when I look at it like that, it can almost be anything. You know what I'm saying? It could be a spouse. It could be. a pet. It can be, some type of a hobby. Whether it's hunting or if it's fishing or if it's whatever. To me, when I think about it in that sense, it can be whatever really brings you that peace and brings you back and grounds you. Okay, so I'm
Exactly.
very interested to hear. I want to hear from D first. Um, okay, so you've already told us basically, you already told us, why you chose this topic. As far as a compact companion for yourself and even Jeff, um, what what is it that you guys have?
So, like I told you, Jeff is 20-year combat, but he PTSD, but also PTSD, and I know I'm speaking right. He is ago. Then for years. So I that 5 years of surviving prior to the accident, the differences on how he deals with different types of PTSD. Um, it's the trauma is the same the, through my eyes. Um, but yeah, the accident definitely triggered more of the anxiety, more of the fear, more of the agoraphobia. Um, so I think that's why it was so important to us to speak on it, because even traumas that happen after combat will trigger traumas from combat. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Mhm. Um, I myself am a PTSD warrior. Um, and again, I never served a day in the military. Unfortunately, I couldn't. I did try, not for lack of trying. Um, but I have my own PTSD from childhood abuse. I am a So I'm a childhood abuse survivor. I'm a rape survivor. I am a domestic violence survivor with my ex-husband. Um, so I have my own kind of PTSD as well. So I definitely understand that our companions are not just combat related, but all in all, it's still all combat. We're all still fighting a war up here.
Wow. That was well put. That was well put. Shane, why don't you weigh in on this one?
So I never seen combat, but I did get severely hurt in a training accident. Um, Preparing to go to South Korea. I'll never forget it. I'm not gonna go too much into it, but pretty much I took a Bradley into a 15-foot ditch, nose first, and I just remember bits and pieces after that. But pretty much I broke my neck, broke my back. Um, I'm dealing with the traumatic brain injury still that is slowly getting worse. So what she said on the dealing with the combat in your head, it's not just a every now and again thing. It's whenever you go to sleep, whenever you're asleep, whenever you wake up, whenever you're driving. It's hard to go around people. You know, it's just it's hard to be around family sometimes.
Hmm. Yeah. Ace.
Now, as you mentioned earlier, I'm not a vet. Um, and my PTSD is different than someone who has served, but it's still PTSD for me. Um, I know that everybody that follows me on TikTok seen the video that I put out. What day kicked your mental health into overdrive? For me, it was March 1st, 2015. That was the day I died. Whenever they brought me back to life, that day, all the trauma that I had been through the first half of my life, it's almost like me dying and then bringing me back unlocked that door. So I wasn't able to keep anything hidden anymore. It's like a flood, and I don't have to think about it, and it's just like right there in the forefront. There was two incidents that really put me over the top. Um, my sister had a brain in your aneurysm burst in her head, and while she was in the hospital, I was there picking up my niece and her husband and kids. We were taking them back to the building that she was in, and I witnessed a murder suicide at the hospital entrance. Um, because of that, I'm not able to enjoy fireworks anymore because the pop of the fireworks to me sounds like gunshots, and it automatically takes me right back to that night. Um, the second incident, like Dee said with Jeff, a motorcycle accident. It wasn't a severe motorcycle accident. I was doing 40 miles an hour, and a car was across the line on a curve, and my highway peg clipped their bumper. And whenever I clipped their bumper, it shot the bike out from underneath me, hit somebody else, and I ended up getting rushed off in an ambulance. Um, that little accident made it so that I had visions every time I got behind the bike, every time I got on the bike, every time I got behind the wheel. I had visions of something bad happening to me. Like my brakes go out and I go flying off the fucking road, or somebody comes across the line into my lane and I end up hitting them head on. I mean, whatever it is, I visualize my own death all the time, and that's not something that you can just take a pill and it goes away. Because you said it the best, D. It's not always the battle that everybody can see that matters. It's the one that you fight in your head every day that makes you who you are. I mean, it's tiring, to say the least. It's very tiring.
Yeah, I can't agree with you more. Jeff, how are you doing there, brother?
I'm doing good.
What's up, brother?
Good.
I was
Hey,
listening in
once again,
the
like I said,
room
you
on
weren't here in here earlier.
and YouTube kicked
You,
me out.
you said what?
I said I was listening in the chat on the other room till YouTube
Oh,
decided to kick me out.
sorry about that. But yeah, definitely want to take the time to thank you personally for your service. Definitely always take the chance. I always take the opportunity to thank a fellow soldier for serving. Would you like to weigh in on what we've been discussing so far?
Well, yeah. I mean, basically, my backstory is 20 years in the military. I did 2 tours. I did a tour over in Kuwait in 2002, before the invasion. So I was there for the whole buildup and everything. Um, then I went back to Iraq in 2006 to 2007, and that's pretty much where my PTSD started. Is all the stuff that I experienced, even though I never left the base, because we were doing base security. But even then, it was still, you know,
Yeah, over there it didn't really matter. Now what unit were you in? Were you in the army?
No, I was in the Air Force, but I was
Okay.
security police.
Okay, so where were you stationed at in Iraq in 0607?
I was at Kirkuk Air Force Base.
Shut up. Really?
Yep.
Okay, I was not that far from you in 0607. Now I went back. I had 4 deployments. I was in 10th Mountain. And my unit was up there, top 5 most deployed units in the I think in the army at that time. And so I was there. I was in um Abu Ghraib around that time when you were in Kirkuk in 0607. When I went back in 08, 09, I was in Kirkuk. And the crazy thing about it was when I went back, they actually put me in charge of the NCOIC over at the ADAG there. So that is pretty freaking cool, man. Um, that is great. We just barely miss each other.
Yeah.
Um, so that's really cool. My way in on this so far um is you're probably gonna hear me say this a lot during this episode, but man, this is so difficult. Because the thing is, people sometimes tend to forget, um, especially anyone who's never had really the even okay. Let's put it this way: you take D and you take Jeff, for instance, right? D was in the or Jeff was in the military. D, has had PTSD from other events in her life as well, right? Even though they both are on the same spectrum as far as PTSD, the level and the experience is so much different.
Very
And even with somebody, even if you're somebody who's had those type of experiences, sometimes if you're not careful, you could miss what the other one is showing. You can miss what the other one is saying, because you might hear in your head PTSD. Oh, I have PTSD as well, and then therefore you might, if you're not careful. I'm not definitely not saying that with you guys, definitely not. But if you're not careful, you could misconstrue things that they're going through and think that it's something that is close to what you're going through. Like I can say for me, with the 4 deployments, everything I've dealt with, and for those who actually know maybe a tenth of that, because I've never really divulged 100% of anything. Um, you might think, "Wow, this dude's been through a lot," and you might sit there and think, "Well, I have to be careful because I have been through so much. There's so much that really doesn't bother me. There's only certain things that will bother me, and when those things bother me, you might want to get out of my way because it's not going to end very well for those involved. Anybody in the radius of what the fallout's going to be. And but it might be different. Like I said, if I'm using Jeff and D for example, y'all don't mind me if I use y'all for example. Okay, thank you. God bless
Too
you.
late.
But it may be
Too
it may
late.
be yeah, no, right? It may Jeff's tolerance may be really high because compared to some of the things he's been through, some of those things may not be as bad. So it may not bother him as much. But for D, if her tolerance is not as high, those little things can honestly be up here. And that's the thing that I think that fascinates me when it comes to now that I'm really and I've been going through therapy. I go through behavioral health with the military and on this self-realization journey I've been on. I think that's what fascinates me the most when it comes to PTSD and dealing with these type of things is that no matter who you are, you know what I'm saying, you could be a hardened vet. But just the slightest little thing sets you off. And at the same token, you can be a hardened vet and just everything just is kind of like whatever because you know what? I've seen people's limbs get blown off. And even though I was using that as an example, I have. I've had to do a lot of things that I don't wish upon my worst enemy. I don't wish that, my worst enemy's children have to go to war and have to even remotely do any of the things that I had to do when I was there or see the things that I saw that I was when I was there. I don't wish that upon anybody. Um, You say what you want to about me. I'm not that evil. I'm pretty evil, but not that evil. But depends on what day it is.
You're skirting the line there.
Yeah, I know, right? But you know what I'm saying? I mean, you guys kind of get what I'm saying when it comes to that. Like sometimes we think just because, and I'm using me example. Sometimes we think just because I might think just because I've been through something that something that may not be a big deal to me shouldn't be a big deal to you, and that's just not the case. And just because you may have been through something, and something that's small that is a big deal to you, it shouldn't necessarily be a big deal to me. And that's what I'm finding that's so fascinating about this. And as we get to talking about the combat companions, because like I said, it doesn't just apply to animals, which everybody always associate. They always associate combat companions with animals, and they always associate with like veterans or first responders, like police officers. Um, I don't really know about firefighters. I don't know.
EMT.
I mean, I've heard, but I really didn't know. So I'm hoping somebody knows anybody that has experience with that.
Lifeguard.
This fool said lifeguard. Oh
Well, I thought he was just throwing stuff out.
no,
I know,
I,
I know firefighters, they respond to a lot of car crashes, so they definitely see a lot of
oh
bad
yeah,
stuff.
Shane,
yeah.
I was
I
messing
just
with
this
you, man.
fool said life.
Oh,
What's a
talking about the
lifeguard?
red.
What's a
Do
lifeguard?
what?
Are you talking about I look like
Being
a lifeguard? I'm wearing a red shirt.
No, he's over here talking about. I'm not sure about firefighters. You're like EMTs. I'm like lifeguards.
yeah.
Okay.
I thought we were just throwing stuff out. I
No,
mean,
that's that's what Ace
pull
does.
pull boy.
Yeah, that's what Ace does. So that's not what we do. Okay.
Hey.
Okay. So I'm gonna pivot this back to Jeff and D. Okay. So I'm gonna ask you guys this question. As far as your combat companion goes, is your combat companion the two of you, or is your combat companion does it have to do with an animal?
So it's funny. It's a little of both.
Okay.
Um, when Jeff was recovering in the hospital from the motorcycle accident, he had lost actually half of his blood volume at the scene. Um, so in and out of multiple surgeries, it got to a point where they had to start bringing me back to the recovery room because they couldn't get his heart rate under control. They couldn't get his vitals under control. Just him feeling my presence there, his vitals started to stabilize. Um, so, I mean, in a lot of ways, I am, that companion for him. Um, I've been able to get him through certain situations that he wouldn't necessarily have been in, um, or been as relaxing, especially like um, Ace said about fireworks. Um, we've we've been able to actually enjoy fireworks for a couple of years now. Just, um,
I need to invest in those.
oh, those loops, yeah, they're amazing.
Yeah,
Huge.
and whenever you're done, go ahead and. I mean, we're not going to get a sponsorship from them, but if something that we offer to the people that watch this video helps them, then that's us doing our due diligence. So, whenever you get done with what you're saying, Dee, can you go ahead and let everybody know what those are?
Yep, absolutely. Um, but yeah, and then on top of it, Jeff does now have a service dog. She's still in training, so she's a little wiry. Um, but when I can't be with him and his heart rate starts to elevate and he's starting to kind of get that almost tunnel vision, she knows to be by his side, and she actually is able to do compression therapy. She'll tuck herself right up his butt if she could. Um, but like I said, I have both. I mean, and as far as my Um, PTSD companion Jeff absolutely is that person. When I start going down my rabbit hole, he's the one that can yank me right
Reel
out.
her back in.
And I was doing a ton of research myself because I also work in the medical field. So I was kind of doing a deep dive into some of the medical journals on PTSD, the use of combat or not combat, but the use of a companion, be it therapy or just having that person, or even a service dog or whatever. Um, it's amazing the survival rate of people going through PTSD trauma, if they have that companion. When you're talking service related, that 22 a day is a very, very real number, but it cuts down almost by 7% if the veteran has a service animal related to their PTSD. That is a huge, that's an absolute number. And, I think that every combat veteran going through some sort of PTSD needs to have a companion, whether it be a canine or human companion, it doesn't matter. Somebody that can see what is happening and be there, kind of be their safety net. And there's a reason why I use the term safety net, actually, not to go off on another rant, but um, one of the people that I talked to, because I talked to several of my veteran friends today who I know have gone through PTSD. One of them, um, he used that term safety net. But my biggest question that I posed to everyone that I talked to was, if you could tell your companion one thing that would be the biggest help, to help you through those moments. He's like, it's going to sound rude, but, eyes and ears open, mouth shut. Shut the hell up, because you want to be that safe net for them. Safety net on a tightrope is going to look up at you and say, hey, I'm here for you, buddy. It's just there. And it's going to be there to if you fall. And that's why he used that term. And it clicked with me, made a lot of sense. Um, and the same thing with the service dogs too. Is they're not going to talk to you, but they're there if you need them.
Yeah. I mean, that's 100%. I mean, yeah. So now what were you talking about? Was it rings, bracelets? What were we talking about as far as
The
Oh,
loop earplugs.
nuclear?
yeah, I'm going to show them to you.
They're they're not really earplugs. They're noise reducing plugs.
Right. So this is the case. I'm gonna open it here. I'm one-handed here. There we go. They look basically just like earbuds. Can you see that?
Oh, okay.
Right. Um, but they they come in different levels, decibel levels of what they reduce. They even make some that are switch. They can go from 8 decibel reduction all the way to 32 decibel reduction.
Yeah.
So you're still aware of what's going on around you, but just the noise cancellation alone can usually, I mean, I know for us and even our daughter, it makes whatever event we're at tolerable. Our daughter uses them more because of her ADHD, and we believe it's also on the spectrum. Um, but it helps her focus on what she needs to focus on. She doesn't get the anxiety that she usually gets. I mean, I know Jeff.
I use mine on a daily basis in the truck, and mine are 16 decibel noise reduction, and they make a huge difference around the machinery every day.
We've been to
Wow.
fire shows and everything else. I mean, you can still feel the reverb in the chest with the fireworks, but the sound that you hear is typically what triggers um, flashbacks. It's because it's so reduced. It's almost like like you're watching it on the TV.
And
But
since I've been using the loops, I've noticed that my tinnitus is definitely reduced. It used to be to the point where it would keep me up all night long, just the constant ringing in my ears. And now maybe 10, 15 minutes of it at the most, and then it's done.
Well, yeah, I know. I've had that same issue um in the past with mine as well. That's pretty freaking cool. Definitely, if you get a chance, put the if there's like a link to that, put that in the chat. So that way, if there's anybody that's interested in doing something like that, they can do that, and then that way, if we get enough people getting there, maybe they'll actually sponsor the show. Yeah. Always trying to get a little something there. Um. Oh wow. Okay. So my question. Okay, I'm gonna direct this question to Shane. Because I know I just asked I asked Jeff and D about their combat companion. They said it was a little mixture of both. Shane, do you have a combat companion?
Yes, I'm gonna go a little bit back to what my combat companion was whenever I first got out. I actually turned to alcohol for my combat companion,
Hmm.
and it was just every night, every night, every night, and started causing problems with my family. And so I just stayed away from my family, and I drank more and I drank more. Then I got with who is my fiance now, and she became my combat companion. And you know, of course, at first she couldn't understand a lot of what I was going through, and I would have a lot of outbursts. And you know, finally one day she set me down. She said, "I think you need to go and seek help." And so I did, and I had no idea that I even had PTSD or half of the stuff that I had until somebody sat down with me and talked to me about it. And so now I'm almost 4 months sober, and my fiance is my combat companion for life. So
That is awesome. Oh, that is very awesome.
Round
Ace,
of
what about you?
applause for that, Shane.
Yeah, heck yeah.
um, with with me, I medication. That is my one constant. Um, Even before my PTSD was really acknowledged, I've always had anger issues, and I turned to drugs and alcohol to calm myself down when they got too much, and then I got to the point where um, I got tired of the person that I was whenever I was on them. So I went to medication, and it just like with any medication you get put on, it takes time to find the right medication to treat what you've got going on. So if somebody suggests medication for your depression, trauma, PTSD, whatever you've got going on, give it time. I mean, you can't take it for a week because that ain't working. I'm not taking it no more. No, it takes 2 to 3 weeks for it to get into your system to actually level yourself out. And if it's not the right medication, it's going to take even longer because then you got to try something else. But um, recently, I had a dog, and I don't have the dog no more. So I've got several people that um that have said that if I need something to reach out, um, D, Jeff being a couple of them, my sister. I know that I can always go to her. I know I can always go to you, Tim. Um, it's just having that one thing in your life that you know whenever you're at your lowest, and that one thing, like you said, can pull you back. And whenever I was having a bad day, I knew I could go to my room. I don't want Xena. Love you, sis, but we're good. Um, I I knew if I was having a bad day, I could go to my room, pick up Yaya, and everything would get washed away. And I can't do that now. So am I struggling? Absolutely. But I'm still getting up every day, putting a smile on my face, and making the best of what I can. Do I bury it? I try my damnedest. But I mean, like we said before, it doesn't just go away. It's still there, even if you don't have somebody to bounce it off of. I know, Mama Bear. I know, but it's rough.
Hey,
It
Ace,
is.
I know you don't really know me that well so far, but you also can come to me too, buddy.
I appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
Um, my I guess response to all this is, I mean, it's kind of picks out of everybody that's spoken so far. Like saying, and actually mine was before I got out of the military. I turned to alcohol. After my last deployment, where I pretty much lost half my squad on a decision that someone who didn't even leave the wire decided to make. Um, and upon returning, um, I returned home and watching all the soldiers that were going to their families. It was when I discovered that my then wife was actually, I kind of figured out then before that, but she was having an affair with me with another soldier that was there on base. Um, During that time, also, I was dealing with the issue where my first ex-wife was keeping my daughter from me. Um, so at that point in time, I'm in New York. I'm stationed in New York, thousands of miles away from my family, with no one. The only ones I had was was my soldiers. And I commend them. I love them to death, man. I would do it if they called me today and say, Sarge, hey, no questions. You ain't got. Don't even tell me. Just tell me where I need to be. Um, but yeah, I turned to alcohol. Um, Alcohol still one of my good friends to this day. Uh, I mean, it's just one of those things. It's one of those. It's one of those ones that never let you down. Um, but then going along with the pills, like Ace was talking about, like when they first so called diagnosed me, um, when I was in the military, they had me on. I was taking 26 different pills a day. 26 different pills. My medicine cabinet was depressing. It really was. I get up in the morning. I'd go open my medicine cabinet. And I had to take those pills out. And the only reason why they had me on those pills was because at that time they said my PTSD level was higher than what they had seen in a long time out of any soldier. So basically, they were tranking me every day, just to kind of keep me under control. Um, and then to come find out, they really didn't properly diagnose me because not only did I have the PTSD with anxiety, depression, and all that good stuff, but I was also bipolar, which no one had diagnosed me with up until 5 years ago. Well, 6 years ago. It's about 6 years ago when I finally got diagnosed. And since then, the medication I've been on has been working pretty well. I went from 26 pills to when I finally got to a doctor that really looked at what was going on with me and noticed that, I really wasn't getting any better, and in a lot of cases, I was getting worse because I wasn't gonna take 26 freaking pills a day. It was depressing, to me. So they finally got a combination. I'm down to, like, 8 pills. I went from 26 to 8 pills that I'm having to take. Is it great? No, I still don't like it 'cause I don't like taking pills, but heck, 8 is so much better than 26 on a and that was 26 they were saying I was gonna take for the rest of my life. And just thinking about that, I'm like, at that time I think I was right 32, 31, 32 when this happened. And I'm thinking like I'm still too young to be taking all this. Like I'm not like but yeah, I get it. On the alcohol thing, I definitely get. Having a significant other, what I'm saying, Des is a godsend. That's also great. As far as animals go, I have Scarlet, who I got her. She's a lab German Shepherd mix. I got her roughly a year after I got out of the military. She was not a service dog. She's not technically a service dog, but she serves every purpose as one. She knows 100% when he's not feeling it. She knows 100%, hey, back up, leave dad alone. There's times where you can tell she can get very protective of me when I'm feeling that way, and she'll act as a buffer, um, between myself and people. Um, but I've been very, very fortunate, very blessed because, um, my granddaughter Rain has really, really quickly filled that role as well. Um, because here's the thing, you have like I said, for the most part, if you find somebody, and then they're your rock, they're your support companion. That's a beautiful thing. At the same time, it can always be a double edged sword because that other person also they also go through things. They're not always at the top of their game, so to speak, when it comes to dealing with stuff with you. So there's always that. Um, and even when you deal with animals, I mean animals, especially when you talk about dogs, you almost can never go wrong. Um, because you never have to worry. Like I think D was the one that said it. When it came to animals, like you don't have to work. They just sit there and listen. They don't talk back to you. They don't offer advice. They just sit there and love you. And everybody always says they look for that. When it comes to people. I'm not saying that you won't treat people like dogs or anything. And I'm saying, hey, just shut up and just listen to me or this and that. No, that's not what I'm saying. When it comes to that level of just commitment. I guess I can I guess that's what I wanna say. But, it's tough, because as somebody goes through this stuff, you don't wanna feel like a burden, because your issues are a burden to you. You know this 100%. You know that you're not trying to be a burden to somebody else because you know this stuff is burdening you down. It's weighing you down. What kind of person if I say I love you and I'll do anything for you, what kind of person am I to say, "I'm gonna put that on you?" So you have to carry that. And I know, when you have that significant other, they love you, they wanna be there for you, they're more than willing to take that. But it's almost like I compare it to the movie Ghost Rider with Nicolas Cage, and the stare that he would give with the thousand soul stare when he'd look at person in person, and he can show them all their sins and sins of everybody else that he's it's the same way. If you've never seen that movie, you don't know I'm referencing, I would say at least watch it, because that's what it feels like. Because I may be able to tell you what's going on. I may be able to tell you, "Hey, this is what's going on, da da da," but you still don't know the full weight. Because I can just tell you what happened. I can't I can't really put into words the emotions and the feelings that is going along with it. Because for me, there's there's so much, and I can trace it back to the exact date. I can trace it back to the exact date and exact time of when this really kind of became a downward spiral for me when it came to this, as far as doing with the pizza. And like I said, I PTSD before. I'm talking about before, post, pre-military. And I can give you the exact date and time. And then it carrying on from there. And I can give you every single moment in my life where it went from what happened before to that moment, how it pounded on that, to the next moment, how it got more and more on that, to the next moment, how it piled more and more on that. And it's so difficult. And like I said, when we talk about the combat companions, and which I'm loving the way the phrase that, because like I said, when I first looked it up, World of Warcraft came up. I'm like, what the freak is this? Um, so I'm loving the way D phrased that, because then it got me to thinking, you know what? Combat companions is not just animals; it's people too. It's almost any, just like I said earlier, it's anything that grounds you, whatever that is, that grounds you. And I love it so much, like I said, the way she phrased that, because that just, it opens up so much more doorways. People always, trying to get these combat. I'm gonna be honest with you. I wanted a monkey. I still do. I want a monkey. I want a little monkey. I was gonna name him Chim Chim. I was gonna dress him up. Yeah, and I was gonna put a saddle on Scarlet. That way, Chim Chim could walk Scarlet, and I could put a little cowboy hat on Chim Chim with a vest and spurs and everything. And Chim Chim. I still want the monkey. Don't get me wrong, but that's not. I did. That was gonna be my support. That was gonna be my compact companion. Because then the monkey can throw feces at people I don't like. But anyways, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I know. Ace, I said I was gonna try not to, but I did. So sue me. Okay,
You
so
wouldn't be
we're gonna.
you if you didn't.
I know, right? So here's what we're gonna do real quick. We're gonna take a real quick commercial break. When I say real quick, means I'm basically gonna read the commercial, because, like I said, I still haven't fixed the issue with our commercials yet. I'm working on it. I am. I definitely am. But as soon as I fix that, we'll get back to normal with the way we're doing things. Um, but yeah, so until we get that fixed, you just let hear me talk a little bit more. And it's all gravy. But yes, definitely want to take this time. I'm not gonna do the baby voice right now. I'm not gonna do the commercials in baby voice, but I will at some point in time.
Who said anything
But yes,
about baby voice?
when I said, get to listen to me talk a little bit more, that's my, yeah. Anyways, but yes, this commercial, this portion of the Birdman Show is sponsored by W Energy Drinks. W Energy Drinks. You go to w.gg, use promo code Birdman Show for 10% off. W is an energy drink that you can make at home. W is formulated to give you focus, energy, with no jitters or crash. Their formulas contain vitamins, amino acids, neurotropics, including the patented neural factor. Has no calories, no sugars, no fillers, and no artificial flavors. So if you need something to give you the energy to conquer the world, go to W Energy Drinks to get what you need. That's WDUBBY .GT. I'm sorry. I saw. Um,
DUBBIE.
yeah,
That's
it's the,
doobie.
yeah, W. DUBBY.GG. Use the promo code Birdman Show for 10% off of your order, and tell them the Birdman sent you. Okay, that's yeah. I had another stroke there. Um,
Just a mini one.
it's all good. It happens a lot. Don't even worry about it. Don't even trip on it.
I'm not
Okay,
on the
so
clock yet. I don't get to. I
what'd
don't
you
have
say? What'd you say, D?
to clock
I didn't hear you
advice
broke
from.
out.
Sorry, said I'm
Oh,
not on the clock, so no medical advice from me yet.
okay,
Yes.
cool. Oh, so you're the one I need to turn to if I need medical advice. Then I will keep that in mind. I will never keep that in mind, especially when I'm getting my medical marijuana card. Anyways,
Help with that.
Are you moving to Missouri?
Hey, I know some people live there. I just put a bill over there so I can have it as an address. Anyways,
There you go.
moving right along. Once again, like I said, thank you. This is the Birdman Show. We are here and we're talking about combat companions. Um, like I said before, it's don't just get fixed on the fact thinking about combat companions, military, first responders, and having to do with animals. It doesn't matter who you are, what job you've been in, what experiences you have. If you have trauma, if you have PTSD, this is something that fits you. And like I said, it doesn't just deal with animals. Your combat companion can be, your love, your spouse, boyfriend, girlfriend. Nowadays, boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife. For some people who identify as animals, I mean, they can be a double-edged combat companion because they can be a husband and a dog. That one guy did identify as a border collie. Anyways, oh, sorry. Um,
Platform.
yeah, I know. I don't know.
Yeah, wrong platform.
I know. I didn't want to exclude anybody. I didn't want to get somebody, messaging the show like, "Hey, I identify as a Siamese cat, and you didn't mention me." So whatever you identify as, you can be a combat companion. Um, oh God,
You know what that sound was? That was sound of our ratings going down.
Say probably the one
Squirrel!
Yeah,
Continue.
I'm just saying I wasn't excluding anyone, so therefore we might have actually gained some followers. Thank you very much. Cha-ching. Anyways, yay for the Birdman.
It doesn't count if it is a self-proclaimed pat on the back.
Yes, it does.
No, it doesn't.
Shut up. Anyways, okay, so we're talking about combat companions. Okay, so my question is, okay, so let's talk about some of these instances that I've been seeing, especially like on social media, honestly, really only on social media, with issues of people being able. Now we're really going to talk about the animal part of it, taking their combat companion support animal into establishments, business establishments. Have any of you seen? Let's start with you, D. Have you ever experienced that or seen anybody that has gone through that?
So we have a service, and because she's in training. So, all right, let me back up. Jeff has a degree in criminal justice. I also took criminal justice because I studied law, and one of the main reasons why I studied law was to really reinforce my ADA knowledge, and a true service animal. Well, one in the United States, according to the ADA, you can only have two types of service animal versus emotional support animal. Any animal can be an emotional support animal, where a service animal is either a dog or a miniature horse. Those are the only two that are recognized by the ADA. And they are.
Oh, wait. You heard her right. A miniature horse. Now, me working at a hotel, if I had somebody walk in with a Shetland fucking pony and say, "This is my service animal that my doctor prescribed to me," I would have to let that horse in.
Okay, first of all, I heard you when you said that the first time when we came up to stay up there, and I kind of I was probably drinking, so I probably really didn't pay much attention to it. I heard it, but didn't really pay much. So you mean tell me I can get a freaking miniature horse? For Hey, I'll be back. I gotta call somebody real quick. Uh,
You got to call somebody about a horse.
I'm like, wait, are you serious? So that is what? A dog or a miniature freaking horse?
Yep.
for stability.
Mhm.
That's
So
what most
like
people who get a miniature horse.
a little miniature horse in my cowboy hat and just shot. Just I'm a
Great.
king.
That wouldn't
That's
be a service animal
it.
then.
Or
Ride till I
and
can't no
put
more.
the saddle on for Chim Chim.
Like
Well,
I can have
yeah,
Tim be on the back. You know what I'm saying? He be bring and I just we ride him in there. Gonna take my horse to the old town road and we go. But yeah, like really, I'm gonna have that on a boombox. Chim gonna home with a little boombox with little speakers and gonna be blasting that. And no, no, okay, okay. Anyways, carry on, carry on, carry on.
Great. Where was I? Oh, so with the ADA laws, so anybody who establishment, if you come in with a service dog, one, they don't have to be passed, have to have any kind of acknowledgement. There's no registration stating that this is a service animal. Um, we do patch Valkyrie, our dog, because one, she's a bull mastiff, so she gets mistaken um for violent breeds of dogs, which that's a whole different topic for a whole nother day. Um, but she gets mistaken for that a lot. And she's also in training. Now, establishments do not have to allow an in training service animal into their establishment, whether it's a restaurant or not. Um, we had gone out actually for a friend's birthday, and I contacted the restaurant ahead of time and said, we have a service dog. She is in training. Would you allow her in as she's training? And because she was training, they said no. But once she finishes her training, they don't have a choice.
right,
Um, and unfortunately, I see people all the time who have to fight for their rights as their service animal as medical equipment. 'Cause that's what it is, a service dog. They are durable medical equipment. Um, you can't look at somebody and say, "Oh, sorry, you can't come in. You have a walker." "Oh, sorry, you can't come in. You have crutches um, or a wheelchair." Just as you cannot tell somebody with a service dog, "Oh, sorry, you can't come in with your service dog." But a lot of people aren't educated on service animals, so it causes problems. We're constantly fighting for rights for people who require the use of service dogs, and it doesn't matter what their service is. I mean, you. I mean, Ace from working at the hotel probably knows. There's only two questions that you can ask about an animal coming into your establishment: is it a service animal? And if they say yes, okay, what task is that
what
animal?
task? Yeah,
Yeah, what task is that animal trained to do? You can't ask about the disability. You can't ask about anything else. I mean, like
you cannot ask them to show paperwork,
you
to
can't even
show documentation.
right. You can't even ask them um to show you what the animal does.
Okay,
Nope.
so
You
oh wait, I got a question. I got a question. I sorry.
mhm,
Okay, so because of how this is being said as far as what the law is and everything else. So what's the okay? So because like I think you said that earlier, D, that you can't ask for any paperwork or anything, right?
Right.
And there's nothing that you really visibly have to put on the animal to show that animal is a service animal. So what's
mhm.
the difference between saying, okay, I have a service animal or I just have a well trained animal? Like, I
That's
mean,
for that's
you
what we're
said
fighting.
what?
That because so many people be like, "Oh yeah, this is my dog. It's my service animal," but they're not trained to be a service animal. They're an emotional support animal. We have an emotional support cat. Actually, it was my daughter's. Um, but there has to be a level of training. They have to be able to perform a task for their person.
Okay,
That's
so you saying that, okay, then just real quick, just clarify for the people out there, for those who may not know, this distinguish factor between these two. What is the true distinguishing factor between a service animal and an emotional support animal? I mean,
uh,
the emotional part kind of plays it out, but at the same time,
a service animal is specifically trained to a task for that person, not just there for emotional support. It's they have a specific task, a specific role that they play. And like I said, that there's a lot of gray area there, and people take advantage of it. Um, that it causes people like us who have a service animal to have to actually fight for our rights to be recognized, because so many people take advantage of knowing that part of the law, that you don't have to prove anything. um and now we find that we're proving more and more that it's a service animal versus an emotional support animal, because it's so blurry what those lines actually are.
mm, okay. I mean, it makes sense. Yeah, like I said, I kind of understood that going into it, but so there's some people out there that may not really know the difference because in a lot of cases, some of those service support dogs or animals, I'm sorry, animals. 'Cause I want to exclude the little ponies. But My Little Ponies. I don't want to exclude them, but they might think, because I mean, like you just said, there's it's kind of a fine line, because some of the service animals do the exact same thing as an emotional support animal, and then there's some emotional support animals that kind of do the same thing as a support animal. They just don't have the formal training. That's wow, that's crazy. That's
and
crazy.
and there is, I mean, there is formal training for service animals, but it's not required, by the way. um Valkyrie has not ever been with a professional trainer. We have trained her ourselves. She's also naturally, one thing, we never trained her for as a diabetic dog. But she will immediately alert to me if my blood sugar goes low. It's just something that she picked up on naturally. But she's never stepped foot in a facility that actually does training. We have done all of our training ourselves.
That's it. I am registering Scarlett as a emotional support and service
No,
animal. That's it.
There's
service
no
animal.
But
there's no
There,
registration.
there, you can't do it for both. For her to be registered as a service animal, you have to say she is a service animal.
well,
If you walk in someplace and you say,
and the Birdman will
I
do
don't
whatever they
give I don't give two shits if you're the Birdman or not. If you walk into a restaurant with Scarlett at your side and you say, this is my emotional support service animal, they're not going to let you bring her in.
Oh, they will. Oh, they will. Oh, they're gonna feel the wrath of the Birdman and Scarlet.
What
Uh,
are you going to do?
I would never take Scarlet to a freaking restaurant anyway. She'd be trying to jump on everybody's table. Shane, what are your thoughts on what we've been talking about so far?
So, um,
It was a
let me try to
girl.
collect.
It was definitely a little girl.
If you don't know what Ace is referencing to, it was back in season 3. No, season 2.
Yes.
Back in
No, it was
season
the beginning. It was season 3 because Sam was still with
Oh, yeah.
us. No, he wasn't. He was out at the end of season 2. You're right.
Yeah, we were talking about, what was it? What was the oh, Lord
It
Jesus.
was shit, the short person,
Yeah, little person. Oh, God.
Yates,
Yeah, Andrea Yates.
Andrea Yates.
Yeah, that's who it was. And yeah, it was Go back and watch that one.
It
Anyway,
was definitely a little girl.
Oh Lord.
Girl.
Oh Lord.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Shane,
No,
go ahead.
you're good. Uh
Anytime we get to that point where Tim asks something and like I'm like, oh, dude, I
Yeah.
always thought it was definitely a little girl.
Yeah. Go
oh
ahead, Shane.
Lord. All right, so my take on it is definitely that somebody that deals with whether it be PTSD, anxiety, hypervigilance. I mean, the list goes on and on. I definitely feel like they should have either a service animal or emotional support animal because it is good to have an animal be there for you because sometimes you just need an animal to talk to because they don't talk back, they just listen to you, and that can make a world of difference. And also, animals can pick up on stuff that you're going through, like
Mhm.
like that.
Yeah.
Because I remember the dog is actually at my mom's house now, but whenever I was going through it and I was having an emotional breakdown and crying on the floor, what I'm saying, he would come over there and lay right on my chest, and he just knew.
Yeah. No, I get that.
There's
So
no
that's what
crying in life.
huh?
There's no crying in life.
Real men
Yeah.
cry.
Yeah.
No, real men wear pink. Get it right.
And then they cry.
And then they cry.
But no, seriously. No, because Scarlett's like that with me. And I've even noticed like I joke around and I joke about my other dog Xena quite a bit. She is 100% jerk, and probably of the devil. But she honestly kind of gets that way with me as well. She she because she knows that if dad gets a little too much like that, then usually I'm yelling at her. But she's so funny because like she lets it roll off her back and it doesn't really matter. She comes up to me, tries to give me all the love in the world. Um, and I never stayed mad that long. With either one of those two. And like I said, going back with Rain, she's a big one too because when it comes to children, um, for me, it's almost impossible to be mad around a child. Um, because number one, especially a child that small. And I've said this countless times before. This is I can't stand some parents, and some of these people that are out there in the world who just disregard their children. Um, your child didn't ask for you to be their parent. They didn't ask to be in this world.
No, that's why they can sue you for not getting their permission now.
Yeah. Which is crazy, but hey, you know what? I might tell if there's people I haven't that I might tell them that. But no, I mean that's what I'm saying is that they didn't ask to be here. Um, and so therefore, when it comes to a child to a certain age, I do have a cutoff. Um, I normally no, I'm normally not upset around them. I try not to be. Are you okay over here?
the the dog knocked the phone out of her hand.
No,
Oh,
it's
what?
down, and I didn't have a good handle on the phone. It's fine. So, you were just yeeted on accident.
What? I was just wetted on.
You were yeeted.
Yo, hey, it ain't that kind of show, ma'am. Hold up now. We ain't got approval for that. We're not on BET Uncut or Skinamax. Anyways,
BET Uncut. I think we got a problem. We only half approved anyway.
that's what I'm saying. We ain't got the full approval. But
But I guess
yeah,
D
so
and I
that's
would be the uncut part.
So like if anybody knows me, if anybody really knows me, they know that like I can be like just foaming at the mouth, just upset about just in the world. But as soon as any child comes around, I do a complete 180. Um, and if a child comes and asks, hey, I come, hey, what's going on? And I talk to them like nothing has ever happened. And ask my players at practice. Like we'll be sitting there and I'm just going at them. I'm just yelling at them. I'm making them do all this kind of crap. And one of their kids comes to me and starts, grabbing on me. That I'll go, hey, what's up? And I'll pick them up. And we'll just sit there play around. You know what I'm saying? Every once in a while, I'll turn the kid that way. I'll turn this way, and I yell at my players, and I come back, hey, how you doing? And that's just how I am when it comes to kids. Um, I love children. And the reason why I do, I think when I got in the military and having to go to Iraq, and when I had to go to Afghanistan, seeing those kids over there that didn't ask for the war, didn't ask for what was going on, and that sense of wanting to protect them, because no one else was, I think really sparked something off in me, and it's carried over, and I have not been able to shake it. I don't want to shake it, because there's a lot of children in this world that don't have anybody to protect them. Even the ones that have their parents in their lives, and their parents are not doing anything for them. Those kids don't have anybody to protect them from their own parents. And I think that for me, that's what sets me off a lot when I see stuff like that. Um, and what sets me off is a lot like what I just mentioned before when we got on this segment, was seeing, these videos, these posts I see about people that complain about people bringing their service animals into, different things and in different restaurants or grocery stores, and seeing these quote unquote Karens. How did they get that name anyway? Anyways, I don't want to get on that. Anyways,
I
seeing
think
these
the
people.
first one's name just happened to be Karen, so they
Yeah,
just associated all of them as Karens.
I guess it was. Yeah, that's cool. But seeing them going off like, oh well, they didn't show me their papers, and like, lady, they don't have to show you papers. They don't have to. They don't have to produce anything. What are you talking about? It's not. It's none of your business. You know what I'm saying? So it's just seeing videos like that and seeing that these people now it's like, okay, so now you just put that person in a even worse state than what they already were coming into the store, and they had this service animal with them, and now you're escalating this and sending them into a different type of friend. It's like that's why I wanted to ask you about that. Ace, have you ever experienced or seen anything like that? Now you working at the hotel. Had you ever experienced anything like that?
The easiest way to tell the difference between a service dog and an emotional support animal is the way they act or react. A service animal, like Dee said, will have some training, whether it's professional training or you do it yourself. But they are trained to perform a task, which means they have to be trained to listen. Because if they're not focusing on their handler, then they're not doing their job. And if you've got an animal that is barking at everything, running all over the place, not paying attention to what their handler is doing, you can tell me all day that that's a service animal, and I will tell you all day that you're full of shit. That is one of the biggest difference between service animals and emotional support animals. Is your service animals, like you said though, you've got some that bleed over. You've got some emotional support animals that mimic service animals as a well-trained animal. But if you've got the ones that aren't, you can tell. Or if they like piss on the bed frame in the room, like, no, I'm sorry. One, a service animal is supposed to go with you everywhere you go. You don't leave a service animal in your hotel room for 8 hours while you go to work. If that is a service animal, that service animal goes with you to work. They can't do their job if they're not with their handler.
Just for clarification, You're talking about the service animal pissing on the
Yes.
headboard, not the hand.
Yes.
Okay, just want to make sure we got that
Well,
clarified.
yes.
There's some people
Yes.
that
Not the handler.
okay. There were some people that were questioning that. To be sure, I was
Okay.
not even.
I figured you was. That does not surprise me. Now, the only time that I ever had an incident where somebody came up and questioned whether my animal was a service animal or not, we had gone to a posh restaurant where they bring meat on a skewer around to you and cut it off onto your plate, those types. And the you don't know what I'm talking about? Y'all ain't never been to one of those places?
Bro, my posh is Olive Garden, fam.
Oh, okay.
Chipotle.
Anyway,
Whipped cream.
but the one of the servers came up, and we didn't have to do this, but I got the impression that if we hadn't done it, they would have asked us to take her out. They came over and asked if our animal was a service animal. We said yes. And then she left, and she come back and she goes, I hate to ask you this, but my manager is asking if you have any documentation. So I gave them her badge. I said, I don't have to give you this, but I want you to leave me alone so I can eat in peace. So here is her badge. You can take your badge, show it to your manager, bring it back, and leave me the fuck alone so I can eat. Once they took the badge back there and brought it back, she said, I apologize. Thank you very much. You enjoy your meal.
Oh, you better.
I mean, I wasn't paying for it. I was there eating with my sister, and I didn't want to make an ass out of myself because they go there all the time.
Everybody ate free that night, messing around with me. Everybody ate free that night because you don't come. I'm like, hey, where's your manager at? Since he's too much of a punk to come up here himself, he's gonna keep sending you over here. Tell where he at. I'll come to him. Where he at? And we'd had a conversation. Oh yeah, you better than me. See, that's that military side. That's that PTSD side. What kind of reason why I was on 26 different pills a day when I first got that's that part that they kept trying to train. That was the hope coming out real quick. So I apologize. I had a flashback.
One thing I wanted to add about service animals is I have seen it so many times. And actually my stepdaughter has a service animal. We were out in public one time and people just like to reach and try to pet it.
No.
And I've had to get up in somebody's face before because I try to tell them nicely, hey, service animal, do not touch. And it's clearly on the vest. And they still kept at it. So I had to get up in their face and tell them, hey, I told you not to touch.
Yeah, because when that animal is in public, that animal is working.
Yeah.
They have a job to do. They are not a pet at that point.
Nope.
You get them back in the house, you want to love on them and everything, give them snuggles and shit. That's behind closed doors. They take that vest off, that's when they know that they can relax. Whenever they go out in public and they put that shock collar on, they know that they are working.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna see if I can find me a service animal vest, and I'm gonna start wearing it when I go to public. So maybe I can get people to stop talking to me and touching me.
But to touch on that too, we had an incident. I was DJing for a celebration of life, actually, for a friend of mine, and Valkyrie was still pretty little at that time. I think she was only like 6 months old, maybe a little younger. And we had her with us because Jeff usually attends those types of things with me. And we were up on the stage, and this guy kept coming up and trying to pet her. And I was like, she's working at the moment. She's labeled as such, please do not touch. And he kept trying to go at it, trying to go at it. Finally, I had to be the buffer zone between him and Valkyrie, so Valkyrie could focus on Jeff. Because I'm Valkyrie's secondary handler. So if something were to happen to Jeff, where say he has to go in for surgery or a procedure or something, I'm Valkyrie's secondary handler. Um, but we've also taught our youngest daughter, who's now 13, how to be that buffer as well, because people don't, whether or not they don't care or they just don't understand the working value of a service animal, um, they let those intrusive thoughts kick in, and oh, it's a puppy, I want to pet it. I don't care that it's a service animal. It's a tough situation. I mean, we allow um, anybody in uniform, whether it's a Walmart uniform, whether it's a police uniform. Valkyrie loves a man in uniform. We found that out. It We allow them to handle her because we want her to be able to know the difference on who she can go up to
Mm.
if something happens with Jeff in public, and I happen not to be there. But trying to explain that to people when we're at a store and we're allowing the employees to handle her, but then not allowing some random stranger to handle her. It's difficult because everybody has a sense of entitlement that they get to pet the puppy.
When you said that, that reminds me of that video that has been going around. It's been some time ago, of the little girl, talking about, oh, puppy, puppy, you want to put? And then they're like, no, that's not a puppy because it was actually a bear. But she was thinking, oh, it's a puppy. I want to pet. No, dummy, that is a bear. It will eat you. Like that. That's what that kind of reminds. And it's funny how that is. Um, and it kind of just speaks to how some people's mentality can be, that they just think they can just go up to anybody anywhere and invade their personal space. And that's basically what it boils down to, is, even though you may have the vest on which says service animal, that should be in their mind, like, oh, this dog is out in public. Okay, dog's definitely working. Like, I know this. I don't know how many times I walked into a store and I've seen somebody with a service, in that situation, a service dog. And I don't go up to I don't go up to them at all. And I'll say, "Oh, hey, cool dog, love the vest," and keep walking. I don't go, "Hey, doggy, you want a biscuit?" I ain't doing all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? If I want to do all that crap, I go home. I got 3 dogs here, that I can pet, which I don't. But
Puppy.
I got 3 dogs here that I can do that with. I don't need to go out in public and pet somebody else's dog. Most time, I don't even like going to other people that have dogs, because I don't trust the dog and I don't trust the owners, because I don't know what they do with them dogs. So, I mean, that's just crazy to me how people are, that they just think that that's okay. You know what I'm saying? It's like, well, it's a dog. Okay, but yeah, but it's first of all, the dog is with me. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to put ownership yeah, I own the dog, which means that's my personal property, my personal space, and you are now invading it. And like how people just don't take that in consideration. Okay, first of all, this is a service animal. So therefore, obviously, there's an issue with the person, with the animal, that this dog, they need it. So maybe I should not bother them or the animal and let them be. It's one of this old. It's this funny thing that my grandma used to tell me. It's just so funny. Do you love this? You'll love this. It's this funny thing. She used to tell me this all the time. Mind your own business. See, this is where the problem is that we don't mind our own business, and we have to be in everybody else's business. That's wow. That's crazy to me. That's pretty freaking awesome. Oh wow. Okay. Cool. Okay. So here's what we're gonna do. Well, we're gonna keep talking about this, but what I'll do is open this up to the people that are watching this. If there's any, like, if you have any instances of service animals, or companions, combat companions, because like that now we've distinguished. We're talking about combat companions, so they can be a dog, it can be a cat, it can be a miniature freaking horse. It can be a monkey. It could be a parrot. It could be anything. It could be your freaking Xbox, PlayStation. It could be your freaking. I'm not gonna say cell phone because we're always in those too much, anyways. It could be anything though. So if you have an instance where tell us if you have a combat companion, tell us what your combat companion is, And and let us, let's have a good discussion about that. Um, D, what is one thing that you would say um is very important when it comes to choosing a combat companion? Like I said, in this instance, that yes, we're talking like I'm gonna say in this instance, we're talking about animals. Because hopefully everybody's making the right choice when it comes to a companion in life. But but we're talking about compact. It is what it is. But we're talking about compact companion. If we're talking about the animal service, or emotional support animals. What is one key thing if there's any advice you can give to somebody? What is one bit of advice you'd give to somebody when they're choosing?
Well, if they're choosing a service animal like a dog or a pony, um, one of the biggest things that we did that worked for us when we went um, to choose our puppy, um, we spent time with each of the dogs, but Valkyrie herself was very standoffish. Like she didn't follow the pack, and she came up to Jeff. She chose Jeff. We allowed her to choose us. We didn't necessarily choose her. Um, there has to be a connection from the get go. The Because when you're choosing a service animal, you are going in with a blind, unconditional trust that they got you, but you have to have them just as much as they have you. There has to be a connection. Take your time, not, oh, that one's cute, that one's ours. It's spend time.
Oh wow, that thank you for that, especially that last part. That's the one thing I was wanting to know if that was going to be said. It was the part of taking your time. That's yeah, really that's really good. Ace, do you have any advice as far as that's concerned?
Um, Make sure that if you are going to get a service dog or a combat companion, get him as a puppy. And the reason why I say that is because you can't take Joe's uncle's nephew's third cousin, twice removed's niece's dog and expect for it at 7 years old to make a good combat companion whenever it's been a outside dog its whole life.
Hey, what you got
You
against
have
McGruff?
what?
What you got to get against Mr. McGruff?
He wasn't a very good crime dog.
No, he got busted.
Yes. um, but I mean, you have to build that trust and that rapport with your service animal. And if you're getting an older, and I keep wanting to say dog, if you're getting an older animal, the problem that you're going to run into is they've already built trust and rapport with somebody else. So you're asking them to break that bond to create a bond with you. And it's not easy for, I mean, yeah, they say that you can teach old dogs new tricks, but something like that isn't easy to do. That's why you want to get them younger so that you can grow into the relationship that you need them to have with you.
Just to be clear, we're talking about dogs, right?
Yes. Now, the only thing that I have to say about any other type of combat companion, you had mentioned something earlier about spouses, or I mean, you can have a friend,
Mhm.
you can have a relative, you can have your spouse, your partner, your significant other, however you want to look at it. the one thing that you need to take into consideration when choosing who you open up to is broke is going to give broke.
Yeah.
Now, I'll emphasize on that. If you're broken, if you're not willing to work with what is going on inside of you, then all you're going to be able to do is give out broken advice.
Yes.
So if you choose somebody to go to that doesn't, I don't want to say doesn't have a handle, who isn't able to control the way that they react to their trauma in some form or another, if their trauma is still running their life, they're probably not the best person for you to go to unload what you've got going on inside of you too. Because in a situation like that, basically all you're doing is adding to what they are dealing with at that time. Because they're not only dealing with their trauma, but now as a friend, they want to help you, but you unload everything that you're dealing with onto them. Now they're dealing with your trauma and their trauma, and they don't know where to separate it at. It all becomes trauma, not his or hers, or hers or hers, or his or his. It just all becomes trauma, and you have broke them more by dumping on them whenever they weren't ready for it.
Shane, do you have anything to add to that?
Yes, I do. Let me get my mind straight here, as I always do, before I start speaking. So
Better than the rest of us.
Wait, we're supposed to do that?
Who you been talking to?
Hey, Shane, I think you're on the wrong show.
I'm definitely on the right show, just with the wrong brain, I guess.
There you go.
I'm only smart today. I'm only smart today. Okay,
We'll take it.
So, whenever I'm inside the house, my combat companion is my fiance. But I've learned the only way that I can kind of feel safe whenever I'm out in public is I bought a battle belt and I keep my gun on there. I keep my tourniquets, my gauze, and I keep a knife, all that stuff. And that's how I've learned to be a lot more comfortable in public because I have hypervigilance. So I'm always just looking for a threat that's not necessarily there. So just
to clarify,
Mhm.
You have a first aid kit on a belt?
Mm-hmm. Let me go grab that real quick.
That's some dope shit right there.
Well, I carry a bag. I got a bag. Like I don't have a belt like that. That's really cool. But like I have like a little shoulder bag that goes over, and I have like a backpack. And Ace, you've seen it. And
Yeah.
that have all that same stuff in there. Now me personally, on my person, I like it was funny because like one of my nicknames in the military was Blade because I had at least 5 to 10 knives on me at any given time. And I would carry like literally especially after like halfway through my first deployment, I had like a mini sword that was at least I would say about 12 to 14 inches long, the blade itself, that I carried on my back. And I was a I was a I was very, I guess I still am into close quarter combat. I just love it. I think it stemmed from the time when I was boxing when I was in the military as well. And just the combinations get in and close. I love it. So I always carried knives. Knives has always been my thing. Ace has seen he's been in the house, and I have knives all over the house. Like there's not really too many places you can go to where if something happens that there's not going to be a knife there. Now the crazy thing about it is crazy as that sounds, I am much more deadlier with a gun, but I choose knives. So that's scary. Anyways,
I'm the same way. I'm the same way.
I love it. Now the thing, like, I really want to touch on what Ace just said, especially like when it comes to choosing somebody. If you're talking about a combat companion as far as a person, it kind of goes back to like what I said earlier. You got to be careful because you don't want to put too much on them. And the thing about it is, what sucks is if let's say all of us here, you know what I'm saying? Let's say all of us here, if Jeff's back there too. Um, all of us here right now, let's say we were all single and now we're going into a new relationship. You have to then look at, okay, I've been through all this trauma. And then you get with somebody and they've not been through anything. They, they may have zero trauma. Now you have to try to kind of play the field of, okay, when do I share this with them? Like,
When that scared the bitch off.
you know what I'm saying? Like, dang, I at least want to get a couple weeks out of her. You know, it's like, I mean,
It's like,
I mean,
all right, I'll show her that I'm half crazy. That way she thinks it's just my personality. But then, I mean, there's going to be a time where I have a little too much sauce and the asshole's going to come out.
I learn how to play it where it makes it seem like you're mysterious. The women love the mysterious man.
I don't think that they would love that mysterious part of us.
No, I'm just saying. I mean,
That's a little bit more mystery than what they would rather have.
It's gotta be like Blue's Clues or where in the world is Carmen Sandiego, or where's Waldo? You gotta make them search for it. Make them search for the crazy. Anyways, what I'm saying is,
Yeah.
what I'm saying is, it's one of those things where it sucks because if you're in a relationship, like if you're in a long time relationship, then most of all those things have been resolved. It's not much of an issue. That person with you, they're gonna be with you. But it's like it's one of those things. If you get into a new relationship, you literally have that in the back of your mind, and it's oh my god, it's almost like freaking well, like Shane and I can sit there and talk about it. It's almost like studying for a test. New subject, studying for a test, and it eats away at you because you're like, oh, do I know everything? Did I study for this? No. Did I do this? And you're sitting there like, okay, when can I actually tell this person? Like, you know what? I think this person, is really going to be there for me. This is that, and then you start divulging all this information, and then they say no,
Nope.
you're on red, and you're blocked on pretty much everything. And that person has moved to Australia. Never happened to me before, but I'm just saying, Australia was so specific.
Yes, it was so specific.
What do we need to know about Australia?
It's deadly. Everything there can kill you.
Yes.
Fucking spiders are the size of tires.
Yeah, they really are. They are bad.
Oh, no, they can
there.
keep that.
I'm telling you right now, if you rent a car there, I will tell you this. Personal experience. If you rent a car there and you go somewhere, make sure you get a car that has a through handle. And when I say through handle, like on the door, the door handle, that it goes all the way through. It's not like one of those ones you have to stick your hand underneath, because a lot of spiders will climb up in there, especially during the heat of the day. They'll climb up in there and they'll hang out in there. So when you go to open your door, and you might stick your hand into a deadly spider. And there's pretty much almost every spider there is poisonous. So I would say if you're gonna rent a car, either rent one that's a convertible to where you can just jump in and out, or if you get one, try to get one that has a through handle to where you can stick your hand all the way through and you can see all the way through. Other than that, I would say make sure you have I don't know, a water bottle, can of air, the aerosol, the can air sprays. Take one of those, turn it upside down to where they get the frost out of it. Spray that underneath it before you get in your car, and they're usually drop out. Actually, and there's
I won't be going there.
got to be a couple videos on YouTube or TikTok or something. I know it's got to be something on there. But that's actually that literally happened to me before. So be careful if you go to Australia. Yeah. So yeah. Anyways, okay. Listen. We're definitely over time. But this has been
Hey, Tim. No, we're not.
what?
Oh shit! It is 8 o'clock, isn't it?
Yeah, dude.
My bad. God.
9
know,
o'clock
yeah.
for me.
It says 9
Yeah.
o'clock. Oh yeah, yeah. Well, but listen, this has been actually really fun. Because like I said, I'm going into it when D suggested this, I had one thing in mind. And then like I said, when I went to go do my research, then that completely opened up everything else. So
To
I
World of
really
Warcraft.
you and Jeff um for you suggesting this. And if you suggested because of Jeff, whatever. And what's the dog's name again?
Valkyrie.
Valkyrie.
Valkyrie. Yes, you thank Valkyrie for me as well. Give Valkyrie that extra biscuit.
Spoiled already.
Biscuit. Shit. It's a damn femur.
Hey,
It's a femur bone.
every once in a while I give my dogs a little bit of steak if I have a little extra left over. But no, it's all good. But no, I really appreciate it. This is an awesome topic. I really hope that this, may have opened some eyes to people. If you are in the market of getting a service animal, know that you can now get a Shetland pony. I will be in the market for one now. So I most definitely, if I can find one, I'm rolling to Walmart. I'm like, giddy, yeah. I'm going into Walmart, cowboy hat and all. Nyah, nyah, nyah. But definitely appreciate it. I had a lot of fun. D, do you or Jeff have any closing remarks you want to live for the people?
Um, just real quick. I was talking with our friend Megan today, and he actually gave me a lot to think about too. And this is a topic that I'd like to see come up more often, because there's so many more facets that we can discuss on it. But when you're looking at a new companion, say you're back in the dating field for whatever reason, this is going to come off very, very wrong, but I hope you understand the correlation.
Wait, D, before you say that,
Yeah.
I know you said it's going to come off very long.
Look at your panel.
Number one, have you not watched the Birdman show before? Have you not been in one of Ace's live before? Have you not been on the Birdman show recap before? Everything goes wrong, so it's all good.
Yes.
But when you are looking at a new human companion, you are basically training them as a service animal. And if they go into it selfless, just like an animal does, and can allow you to decompress the way you personally need to decompress, you are training them to what your needs are. If they can't go by your training, they need to find the door, because you need to be selfish in that moment for your own mental health. Because if you can't get your own head straight, just like I say all the time, you cannot drive a car with an empty gas tank. You cannot heal somebody or help heal somebody if you have not fed your own soul first. So be selfish in that moment and say, this is what I need, and this is how you're going to help me the
That was
best.
deep. That was deep,
Mama.
D.
Hold on, Mama D. I'm start calling you Mama D now. Hold on, Mama D.
Reverend D.
Yo, there was some shots fired because that's some real talk right there. That is some
Hey,
real.
hey.
Go ahead. Hold up, Ray.
Birdman.
I'll let you go.
Reverend D.
Oh, Reverend D.
She's a reverend. She is a
Reverend.
reverend.
Okay, then we you and I can have a conversation on a different level too. Okay, I like that. I knew I liked what I knew that's the reason why I liked you, man. Oh, okay. Shane, go ahead, bro.
I was just gonna say, no matter what you're dealing with, whether it's physical, emotional, both, and you feel like there's no hope, there is always hope. There is always hope. don't give up, whether it's in, working on your anger, whether you're working on not drinking, whether you're working on being a better person, how you talk to people. Like Ace said, it all takes time. It all takes time. I have been on so many medications, and there was so many times that I said, you know what, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. And I started drinking again. But it was the moment that I told myself, I'm going to go get help and I'm going to give it a try and I'm going to be different this time. And I had the help of my fiance. Thank the Lord. Thank the Lord for that. But I just wanted to say that don't ever give up, and patience is key.
Ace.
And you're exactly right. Until you yourself are ready to heal, it does not matter what gets brought into you. You're not going to be able to accept it. You could have somebody come to you and tell you exactly what you need to hear, just not exactly when you need to hear it. It has to be when you're ready. And that goes with anything. Quitting drinking, quitting smoking. I mean, healing is one of the biggest things that we have to do for our bodies. If we don't heal ourselves, then you're going to constantly be repeating the same cycle over and over again in your life. No matter what that cycle is, you're going to constantly repeat it until you are ready to heal. Nothing is going to matter.
We talk about healing. Uh, the thing is, I think people talk about it, but they don't grasp the concept, and they don't really understand the actual process. Uh, People will listen to us talk in this podcast, this episode, particularly this episode, and they'll hear the fact that we talked about alcohol. They'll hear the fact that we talked about drugs. They'll hear the fact that we talked about, deployments, us being service members, or Ace talking about the experience that he had. They'll hear about Reverend D talking about her past experiences. Um, Jeff when he shared his past experience, but it's not just those. People don't seem to understand that a lot of trauma for a lot of people let's just talk about America. Let's talk about America here. American listener. A lot of past trauma for people has to do with relationships. It has nothing to do with any of the things that we talked about. A lot of people's past trauma is relationships, and it's because they made poor decisions in those relationships. And they tend to continue to make those same poor decisions in those in their new relationships, and they wonder why nothing ever works. And I'm not gonna say they're not going through, they haven't experienced trauma or anything like that, but then they they wonder why things are not going the way they should. Um,
Because
I
you're
have
doing the same shit.
tolerance. You said what?
Because you're doing the same shit over and over again.
Definition of insanity: doing the same thing over and over again,
Exactly.
expecting a different result. And I have a very low
Exactly.
tolerance for people like that. Like for people who've gone through trauma, who've had legit trauma, I'm with you. I don't care if you serve in the military or not. You know what I'm saying? D said it herself. A said it herself. Never served in the military. I have respect for these two people. I have respect for their trauma. I have respect for their PTSD. I have respect for that. But for those who have this trauma because they keep making the same decisions, I don't have a lot of tolerance for it. Because you can make a choice not to continue down that path. My path was decided once I decided. Well, I'm talking about me. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about me. I ain't even talking about Ace. I ain't talking about Jeff. I ain't talking about the people who serve. My path was chosen once I signed that paperwork, and I chose my MOS. My MOS was 11 Bravo, which is infantry. You know what I'm saying? Shane right there with me. Okay, Yeah, my path was chosen not only when I did 11 Bravo, when I said, "Hey, you know what? I want to be a sniper. Hey, you know what? I want to go to scouts. Hey, you know what? I want to do airborne. Hey, you know what? I want to go out and do all this other stuff. I'm putting myself in harm's way. Why? Because I'm be honest with you, I thought to myself, because I was going through a lot of stuff at that time, I didn't really have anything to live for. I had a daughter. She was a preemie. She needed medical attention. She needed medical help for the rest of her life until a certain point. If something happened to me, she was going to get the insurance for it. She was going to get paid. I didn't care about what happened to me. I volunteered for every single stupid mission I could think of because if I didn't come back, my daughter's going to be taken care of. At that point in time, I didn't have anybody. I didn't have anybody I was coming back to. My wife at that time was seeing somebody else. Who am I coming back to? And that's where my mentality was for a better part of 15 years. 15 years before I got to the point. Before I got back to the point where I said, you know what, I actually do matter. Maybe I should maybe try to look at life as, maybe I can do something and be somewhere and be something to someone. Maybe I should try doing that. And it's tough. When you get to that mentality and that gets ingrained into your head, it's hard to get out of that kind of stuff. Um, and this is what I love about these kind of talks. D, once again, I cannot thank you enough for this. Cause you had me going one way, and then boy, you said, "No, brother, get your black butt on back over here." Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You brought me on back, and I appreciate that, Rev D. I appreciate that because this was a great topic. This was a very good, surprising topic. And I do appreciate it. Because this was really cool. I really enjoyed it. So thank you very, very much for this. Thank you and Jeff for this. Yeah, wow. So yeah. Shane, do you have any closing remarks before we get out of here?
Just stay strong, everybody, and be thankful for everything you have right now.
Yes, 100%. Ace, are you doing trivia tonight?
No.
Okay, you're not doing trivia tonight. Okay,
No.
cool. All right. Are we gonna do a recap tomorrow? Are you gonna be around to do a recap?
I don't know where I'm going to be. I mean, I know where I'm going to be. I don't know. Um, yeah, I'll let you know. I mean, I probably should be. I should be able to. I'll let you know once I get down there and figure out what all's going on.
Okay.
So
All right. So
I'm gonna be at Carrie's tomorrow.
yeah, okay. So here's what we'll do. We'll go ahead and plan to do a recap. Because I think this was actually a good one. This would be a great one to do a recap on, especially. So definitely so if you're around, for those who are watching, tomorrow night, at 6 p.m. Central Time, same time we do the podcast, we'll be doing the Birdman Show
So
recap over on my TikTok platform, which is at Birdman Show. Tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Central Time. I think I said
if
East.
you're not able to make it, D, because you're sleeping, we will completely understand.
100%.
Because
I
we
hop in towards the end.
yeah, because we totally cut you short on your sleep today.
That's all
Yeah.
right.
So we will completely understand if you're not able to make it tomorrow.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah. So definitely, you're all good. Don't worry about it. I'm not gonna show up to the doorstep or anything like that. Yeah, you can
That's
definitely,
that.
you can also definitely follow us on Instagram at the Birdman Show. Definitely also, well, I don't even know if I want to promote them anymore. I'm not promoting them anymore. We have an X profile, but now you can't even I can't go live
You
on there
can't
anymore.
even, yeah, unless he
So I
pays for it. That's
haven't
bullshit.
decided yet if that's what I'm gonna do or not. I'm still on the fence when it comes to that. So whatever.
If y'all know anybody that needs life insurance, let me or Tim know because my fiance does life insurance and she
Yes, and that's
gives
something that we'll get together because I want to make sure I have a promo for her. So we can do that.
Do we get the family discount?
Hang on, let me ask. Yes, you do.
Yes, I do. What?
You get a
Get the family discount.
And,
Well, I need
and
to-
she does discount for veterans as well.
Let me holler at you,
Is it
bud.
what?
She also does veteran discounts as well.
Yes.
Okay.
So it's really cool. It's really cool. So I definitely I need to holler. Like I said, we need to sit down. You can't remind me. All three of us need to sit down, come up with something so that way we can make sure we have something where I can promote her properly on the show.
We need to finish laying out season 4 too.
Yes, Shane, we need 4 ideas from you.
Okay, just on any topics.
Yes, I mean,
But don't give him that much free reign.
don't hit no island stuff. I don't want to hit no Epstein Island stuff or R. Kelly or something like that. Or P.
I have
Diddy.
some pretty good ideas that are cooking, so I'll let y'all know.
Well, you need to pull them fuckers out the damn oven so we can plug them in to the season.
All right, Rock Dwayne Johnson.
Can you smell what the Shane is cooking?
Exactly. The chef is in the building.
Oh my God. Hey, well, first of all, definitely want to thank everybody for joining us for the Birdman Show for this episode. Season 4, episode 1 is in the books. We will be back, of course, like I said, if you want to join us for the Birdman Show recap tomorrow night, 6 p.m. Central Time, over on the Birdman Show platform on TikTok. Definitely join us tomorrow night. But other than that, we will be back in action next Wednesday, 6 p.m. Central Time, where we'll be doing, I believe, a You Be the Judge episode. Hopefully, it's going to actually be a You Be the Judge. Did she actually get one ready for it?
I hope so.
I think so.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll find out next week because I'd never know.
Yes.
But yes, we want to thank you guys once again for joining us for the Birdman Show. Thank you for joining us on YouTube. Thank you for joining us on Twitch. We love you guys. And we'll see you guys next week on the Birdman Show. We out. Do it one more last time. We out.